In this Path of Exile 2 video, guys, I'm going to be going over the Monk class. In this video, this is going to be for those that chose the Monk as their starter class in Path of Exile 2. So if you guys want to figure out how to level them up properly, then stick around and find out. So the Monk has a pretty unique playstyle here in Path of Exile 2, so it's kind of a hybrid between Mage and like a Ranger class because you are focusing on intelligence and dexterity. Now, with the Monk, you can use a quarterstaff to deal up-close damage, but then you can unlock skills that do elemental or high crit damage to take out enemies quickly, but you can also have what's called culling. So when you cull an enemy, you'll have these charges around you and to unleash more powerful attacks. So that is the general playstyle of the Monk. So the passive skill tree for the Monk starts in the upper right hand corner, and basically what you want to focus on primarily, this is what helped me out when I was first playing the Monk, was doing the attack damage, and then the right hand side is more for mana regeneration and like energy shield and stuff like that. So I like going for damage early in the game, and then once you start getting some gear and start taking care of enemies pretty quickly, once you get your skill gems, then you can focus on more of the utility side. But once you get up north, I would focus, it kind of branches out quite a bit. You can focus on either health after kill or crit chance, more lightning damage, anything of that nature you can go for. So the Monk is a pretty unique class, and you can almost pretty much pick and choose any playstyle that you want to go with. And speaking of playstyles, when it comes to the Monk in Path of Exile 2, one of the early skills that you want to focus on is called Killing Palm. Now what this skill does, it allows you to puts a blue orb over an enemy which is close to dying, and when you do that you dash to them and you'll insta kill them, but it'll also give you a power charge. And power charge is something I explained a little bit ago earlier in the video, where you have these orbs floating around you, and then what this does, which it enhances one of your other attacks, and that attack is called Falling Thunder. And basically what this does is it sends out an lightning AoE in front of you in like a cone, and once you have all three charges, it does a massive AoE and actually does a ton of damage, especially to a large group of enemies. So as you can see here, I'm building up my charges. I have 3 orbs, and the giant lightning attack wipes out pretty much all of the enemies here, and does tons of damage to the boss here. But that is pretty much what you want to do with those power charges. There's other skills that you'll earn later on in the game that consume these charges to give you different effects, but one of the early ones is of course Falling Thunder, which is something I would focus on, especially in the early game using the Monk. Now another really good early skill to use early in the game is called Glacial Cascade. This one takes a little bit getting used to. So basically what it does, it sends out pretty much a single like cone or like a line of glacial spikes, and what this does, well, it'll cause frost buildup on the enemies, but you can do more damage to the ice pillar that comes out at the end. So if you can get a good enough range, you can hit for more damage with the glacial spike at the end here. So you can try and light it up and then, you know, hit enemies with the glacial spike at the end, or cause frost buildup while they're walking in the trail. So nice little thing to pick off enemies from afar. I like to just run around a group of enemies and just spam this until I get some of the blue orbs to then activate Killing Palm, and then once I get my charges, once I get to a big group, then activate Falling Thunder. So this is pretty much what you want to focus on early in the game with the Monk class. But Glacial Cascade is a nice crowd control, but also picking off enemies from afar, especially around a huge group of enemies. Now once you progress further into the game, you'll come across a mechanic called Spirit. Now I touched a little bit about this in the Witch video. Now what it did for that was it allowed you to have more minions with the Witch, but for the Monk here, it basically gives you like a all-around buff. So the more Spirit you have, the more buffs that you can have active at a time for the Monk. So the first one that I went with was Herald of Thunder, because I like doing the lightning damage, and when an enemy is affected by lightning, you can do 20% more damage. So This is just one of the many buffs that you can acquire throughout the game, but once you come across that, you can, I think the first two are either Herald of Ice or Herald of Thunder. Now, when it comes to the equipment for the monk, the one thing that you want to look for, especially when it comes to the armor, is stuff that has evasion rating and energy shield. These are the primary types of armor that are specific to the monk, because the monk is a hybrid class that focuses on dexterity and intelligence. Especially when it comes to the modifiers for the armor, the one things that you want to look out for is anything that gives you points into dexterity and intelligence, anything that gives you stun buildup, or gives you bonus elemental damage to any of the elements that you want to focus on, maximum life because we are kind of squishy with the monk, or anything that gives you points for evasion rating and energy shield. Now, the attributes that you want to focus on, like I said, for the monk is dexterity and intelligence. What dexterity does, which gives you more of an evasion rating and gives you more accuracy, but also gives you some really cool support gems for some of the skills that you'll have for the monk. And then of course intelligence increases your mana, which will give you more mana to do more skills, which also will give you the energy shield equipment as well. So primarily focusing on dexterity and intelligence. I don't think you'll have to put any points into strength, like maybe in the end game if you want a little bit more life, but for right now, just focus on dexterity and intelligence. And that pretty much wraps up our monk guide here in Path of Exile 2. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel, as we got more guides for Path of Exile 2 coming your way. I've done the Witch and the Warrior so far, but if you want to check out some general tips, then check out my beginner guide down below. And then if you guys want to have more Path of Exile 2 guides with the other classes, make sure to click that bell icon so that way YouTube can notify you guys every time our videos go live. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Deuces.